everyone, it's Ashley and today I am here to bring you the Nintendo book tag. I don't think I've been tagged by anyone to do this tag. I have actually been tagged in other things that I haven't filmed yet because I definitely play by the rules of the booktubes. But I really wanted to do this tag. It looks so awesome. I love Nintendo and I love books, so of course I want to do this tag. So I'm going to do it anyways. If you did happen to tag me in this and I just didn't notice, comment down below and let me know. Okay, so the first question is NES or Nintendo Entertainment System, and for this you're supposed to pick a classic that you want to read. I actually had a hard time coming up with an answer for this because there's actually quite a few classics I want to read. I've kind of been in a I want to read more adult fiction kind of kick recently, but I decided to go with The Neverending Story by Michael Ende, or End. I think it's probably Ende, but it could be End. It's End with an E on the end of it. But I have this like really pretty edition of this, and this movie was one of my favorite movies growing up, and it taught me a lot, and I feel like it was just a really wonderful story, especially for people who love books and stories and imagination in general, which is definitely me, and I really want to read this. I haven't read it yet, and I feel like this definitely qualifies as a classic, and it was on my summer reading list, like my summer TBR. I will leave that video linked down below. So I really want to get to it this summer. I've been basically failing at reading my summer TBR books, but I'd like to try to get to this one in the near future for sure. Question number 2 is SNES or Super Nintendo, and for this you're supposed to pick a sequel that you liked more than the first. I feel like this might be a cliched answer, but I'm gonna go with it anyways because it's true, and in all honesty it's actually really hard to find a sequel that you like more than the first one, but I'm gonna go with Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. I actually don't have a physical copy of it. I lent it out and I never got it back. And I actually don't own any of the Hunger Games series. I had them all in hardcover, but I lent them out and I never got them back. But Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins is definitely, it's the sequel to Hunger Games, and it was definitely better than the first one. Not by like a lot, but Finnick just added so much to the story for me. I really liked Finnick. I really liked the games in the second book. I just really liked all of it. Yeah, it was really good. It was a good sequel. It was better than the first. Question 3 is Nintendo 64, and for this you're supposed to pick a book that revolutionized the way that you look at the world. So I actually have 2 answers for this. I will explain fully one, but I was originally going to go with The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, but I don't have my copy out, so I've talked about this many times. I've actually talked about it in my blog as well. I'll actually link the blog post in the description box down below. I talk about why I'm a reader, and I talk about how The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton really helped turn me into a reader, and then I also talk about how Harry Potter turned me into a reader. And you might not think that Harry Potter is the kind of thing that would revolutionize the way you look at the world, but for me, like, I am, this is gonna make me sound so naive and innocent, and it's hard to explain, but I'm one of those people that really does believe there is magic in the world, and I don't mean that in the sense that I think that there are wizards with wands who can cast levitating spells. I mean it that, like, I think that it's a really important thing for you to grow up and continue believing that magic exists. Maybe not like witches and wizards, although like I would love that to be real. Some days I wake up and I'm like, that totally is real, and my letter's just really late. But other days I'm like, the magic is just real people. It's just real people doing real people things that are just magical. And I feel like this book really, like, when you hit a certain age, you lose that feeling. Like, it's like the Santa Claus effect, you know? Like when you're young, you have this, like, this ability to believe in things that you can't see with your eyes, but then you grow up and you can't do that anymore. And I feel like reading this series when I was a kid, it prevented me from having to do that portion of growing up. Like, I grew up and I was adult and I was mature, but at the same time, I still believe in magic. I still believe that there are magical things in the world and that we as people can give other people a dose of magic almost, and this series as a whole most definitely did that for me. Gamecube, a popular book that did not go over so well with you. Again, I feel like I answer this all the time. My answer is going to be City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, but that being said, I have decided that I think I want to read City of Ashes and City of Glass. That's the third one, sorry. I mean, I know how the story ends, which is the reason I really haven't read it, but I'm gonna try it because people have told me it gets better, people have told me the prequel series is better, people have told me that if I didn't like the first one I should keep trying, but other people have told me that City of Ashes is actually more like City of Angst and it's terrible. But I want to have my own opinions about it, and I know how much the world loves this series, so I kind of want to maybe give it a second chance, but City of Bones just, it didn't like wow me the way that it wowed everyone else. Nintendo Wii, a new favorite book. Where's this book? It's in my backpack, hold on. Okay, so I'm not sure how new we're talking or how favorite we're talking, but I'm gonna go with Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. I read this earlier this year. It was one of the first books I actually read in 2015, and I loved this book so much. It's so well written, so twisty and turny, and it wowed me. It wowed me a lot, and in all honesty, it's one of those books that once you get to the end, you're like, whoa! Like, I saw the twist coming. Most people do not. I did. I have not seen the movie. I still haven't seen the movie. That's not why I saw it coming. But like even I, having like spent almost the whole book being like, I'm pretty sure this is what's happening. I'm pretty sure this is what's happening. I got to the end of it and I was like, can I reread it now to like catch all of the things that I should have caught? And that's the kind of book this is. So Nintendo Power, a favorite graphic novel series or a series you want to start? I feel like this is going to be very repetitious. It's going to come as no surprise to frequent viewers of this channel that my favorite graphic novel series is Morning Glories by Nick Spencer and Joe Eisma. I love this series so much. It is a mystery thriller. It's just, I love it so much. One thing I can say is if you go into this, just know that you are going to know nothing. The author gives you nothing. Well, that's a lie. He gives you like 10%. And then like he's just waiting to give you the rest of it. So you go through the series and you're like, oh, I figured out this tiny thing, but now there's this giant other thing I need to figure out. Personally, I'm a big fan of series like that. I really like that kind of mystery element of a story, where it's not so much someone trying to solve a mystery, but that like you as a reader are trying to figure out what the mystery of the book is. Fight Club is a great example of that. I'm a really big fan of plotlines like that, and this is an excellent plotline like that. And the next question is Super Mario, and for this you're supposed to pick a character that you would like to squish. And for this I'm choosing Dolores Umbridge. She is probably my least favorite literary character ever. That being said, she was very well written. Like, kudos to J.K. Rowling. She wrote a great villain, but like, she wrote an excellent villain that I hate because she's a really excellent villain. Like, I hate Dolores Umbridge more than I hate Voldemort, so yeah, I would squish the heck out of Dolores Umbridge. The next question is Zelda, and for this you're supposed to pick a newer fantasy that you consider a modern classic. Just so you guys know, Zelda was and probably still is like my favorite video game ever. I haven't really read as many fantasy books as a lot of booktubers have read, but for me, I'm going to choose in general Neil Gaiman as an author. I think that he is definitely a modern classic author, and as a book, I'm going to choose my favorite of the ones I've read. I haven't read all of them, and that is Stardust. It's an adult fairy tale. It's very well written, very quirky, very short, and I think that I do think it's a modern classic. I feel like if you are a book lover, you should definitely read this book. It's one of his easier novels as well. The next question is Samus Aran, and for this you're supposed to choose either, I don't remember, something or a fantasy novel you want to read. I'm going to go with a fantasy novel you want to read. By the way, I will also leave all the questions to this tag down below in case you want to do the tag, so you don't have to look up all the questions again. They'll just be down there. Okay, so for this I'm going to choose a book that is technically shelved in adult fiction, but it is definitely a fantasy type novel, and I'm going to choose The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I really want to read this. It's magical realism, it has fantasy elements, but also contemporary elements. It takes place in a circus. I've heard amazing things about it, and I have this like really awesome hardcover edition, so yeah, I really want to get to this very soon. The next question is Pokemon book editions that you want to collect. I have always wanted the UK hardcover editions of Harry Potter, but they are super hard to obtain / super expensive to obtain. So as it stands, I really want to collect these editions of Harry Potter. They're very, very pretty. They're new. I really, really like them. The spines look really, really great together on a shelf, so yes. Also, I really want the hardcover collector's edition of Fangirl. I don't own it yet. Fangirl is one of my favorite novels, and I would really, yes, I'd really like to own the hardcover edition of Fangirl as well. I also collect editions of Looking for Alaska. I currently have 3. If new editions come out, I'll probably get those too because, again, that's one of my favorite books. It's my favorite John Green novel, and I like owning multiple editions. There's no real justification, but I don't care. The next question is Donkey Kong, and for this you're supposed to pick a book with original characters. Okay, so for this I'm going to choose iZombie by Robertson and Allred. This I'm choosing because it is a zombie graphic novel, and that's not necessarily super unique, but it's actually also a were terrier novel, a ghost novel, a mummy novel, a vampire novel, but the whole point of this graphic is that it totally spoofs the genre. Like, it takes the fact that you have a ghost, or that you have a zombie, or that you have a werewolf that's actually not a wolf, he's a terrier, so he's a were terrier. Like, it takes those regular character roles and kind of like flips them upside down a tiny bit. So yeah, if you want something with unique characters, I liked this one a lot. And the last question is Nintendo fandom. What are some of your favorite Nintendo games or games that you really want? I kind of already mentioned this, but my favorite Nintendo game is Zelda. My favorite Nintendo game will probably always be Zelda. Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know. I could name some PlayStation games that I really, really like if you want. That's generally what I play now is PlayStation because that's what Brad owns and we play together a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to tag a few people. It's become a tradition, so I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to tag Fran from Frandolph the Grey. I will also tag Susie from Read Susie Read. I'm also going to tag This Book Life and Lindsay Reads. I feel like Lindsay Reads has probably already done this tag, but maybe not. And Frankie from Instead of Gold, as well as Dana from The Book Hoarder. All of you, please do this tag. If you've already done it, I'm really sorry I didn't do my research to find out whether you had already done this tag or not. And if I didn't tag you but you really want to do this tag, please do it. And if you do, comment down below with the link so that I can watch it. And other than that, I will see you guys soon with another video. Happy reading. Bye!